So it doesn't really help if the hunting critics are not ready to meet us eye to eye to speak to us, but they would prefer to go on social media, prefer to go elsewhere and portray us like we are the bad people in the game. What we need is to talk, see it from our viewpoint. We know that decisions are being made about how to use resources. For instance, here in Germany, people will decide on how to use the red deer or those other species with difficult names to make. But the same thing should happen for us as Africans. We know that the elephants are ours. They are our resources. The antelopes are our resources. We equally need to make decisions on our own on how we are going to utilize these resources. Nobody and no one should decide on our behalf on how to utilize those resources, because we don't talk about the European chamois or any other species that are in Europe, whether they should trade them or not. So that kind of respect for our rights to use our resources is what we seek. It's not a fight, it's just a fair game where we should decide on our own and our decisions should be respected. So my name's Bupe Banda. I work with communities in Zambia. So I represent the Zambian Community Resources Board Association. I'm also a member of the Community Leaders Network of Southern Africa, an apex body that represents the interests of communities at a regional level, amplifying their voices, ensuring that their rights are respected, and that which finances their livelihoods is actually taken care of. We work hand in hand with Resource Africa, and I would love to reflect a little bit about what CLN is actually doing at Europe level. So in the past, we've hardly had direct contact with decision makers at the EU, for instance. That includes UK as well. Why we really need this contact is because we realize that a lot of policies and decisions that are being made at this high level go to affect our communities on the ground. So we really need the space, we really need a platform where we can begin to dialogue, where we can begin to show what it means to do community-based natural resources management, why we are interested in hunting, why we feel that communities deserve to be heard. So an opportunity that can be given to the communities is in the long run actually contributing to overall conservation. We know that many are the times where we've tried to dialogue with the critics of hunting, sometimes at a national, sometimes at a regional, and even at an international level. For instance, 3 delegates from the Community Leaders Network were in Europe last week to speak about these issues, to have a hearing at the EU Parliament. They had several meetings in Belgium, they had meetings in Germany and also in the UK. But in all these meetings, what was absent were the critics of hunting. And that is where we are getting it all wrong, because it's high time that we started seeing eye to eye. It's high time that we came to a round table and had a proper discussion. We need to dialogue about these things. In as much as we all feel that we are right in our own opinions and perspectives, it's high time that the voices of the communities actually contributed to the outputs, especially in the decisions that are being made. We know that the critics of hunting manage to go maybe in some places and somehow they have the greater influence, they have easy access to media, they have easy access to whoever will be the big person to make a decision at the end of the day. But that kind of space, that kind of platform is what we're advocating for on behalf of the communities. If a hunting critic can easily approach the EU Parliament, present their case and it's heard, we need the same even for somebody from the community. Because at the end of the day, what we want is a realization that community-based natural resources management really contributes to the overall conservation goal. Communities really need to be part of the equation. They are really important in all this. We promote hunting for various reasons because we have seen firsthand what communities go through if there's no hunting. We know that people would love to advocate for tourism in place of hunting, but are you sure that all the areas, all the spaces are viable for tourism alone? Have you taken time to see how communities are managing to live on their own without the funding that comes from revenue through hunting, through sustainable use? It's high time that people planned to actually go on the ground and see what happens. It's one thing to talk about banning importation of trophies here in Europe, and it's another thing to actually go on the ground and listen to that village person, hear why they are really interested in selling that wildlife, that trophy, because their livelihoods depend on that. They were born in those spaces. They've been living for decades in those areas. They suffer the costs of living with wildlife. They deserve better.